We as veterans have been set up for failure. The reality is, we've been sold a lie. And this isn't rage bait, this isn't pandering. Not only has the military and subsequently the VA claims system perpetuated this lie to us, but we've actually repeated it to each other, sometimes even decades later, as veterans. The purpose of me calling attention to this is so because simply your awareness of the fact is probably going to resonate with you. And I have seen this single-handedly transform someone where they were getting denied for their VA claims for decades. And then all of a sudden, once they realize this one thing, things start clicking. The evidence starts falling into place. The VA claims process gets easy, attainable, and finally winnable. And I, just like you, I'm more of a fan of being the victor rather than the victim. So I want to go ahead and pull the curtain back if you've ever had some feeling that, hey, something's not quite right in the VA claim system, or this VA disability thing just feels fishy to me. Let's dive into it. I'm Jordan Anderson with VA Claims Academy. So what I'm talking about today is about conditioning. And whenever you join a club, whenever you join maybe a fraternity, a society, oftentimes you have what's called an initiation, which essentially means a beginning. Perhaps shedding the old you and adopting a new way of thinking. This is what happens to us in the military when we enter. What do they always say, right? They tear you down and build you back up for their own purpose, which may not always align with your own best well-being or even that of your household. The problem is, whenever you serve, even if you serve for a couple years or if you serve 20 years plus, there really is no uninitiation. There's really no transition back into the civilian world where, hey, you know what? No longer do you have to constantly sacrifice yourself, constantly think about yourself last, constantly lie to yourself like you're not dealing with these ailments, dealing with these symptoms. Because truly, lying in general, right, whether someone's lying to get a higher VA disability rating, that's horrible, obviously. But on the other end of the spectrum, we have loads of us who are lying to ourselves and getting a lower disability rating, which harms our household, harms our family, harms everyone who loves us. And what I've seen, helping thousands of people with their VA disability claims and whatnot, is that the amount of people in this camp who are faking it and trying to get a higher VA disability rating to really get that money is infinitesimally small compared to the opposite side, who are actually convincing themselves that they're not as bad as they really are. And again, that's not your fault as much, that's not my fault as much. Truly, we are initiated into this new way of thinking. We're conditioned, even you could say brainwashed to a certain degree. That's what basic training is built for, right? Is that, again, transition into the kind of robot that they need you to be. And then after we're no longer of use to them in the service, it's like, hey, good luck, peace out. So my proposal is, just like as a veteran community, we ostracize and we cast out those, rightfully so, right? Who cheat the system, who make all of us look bad, who can jeopardize VA claims because they're lying, right? They're abusing the system. We should equally not ostracize, not cast out, but maybe even have the same passion for those of us, maybe even more of us, who are suffering in silence, harming our own loved ones, the people close to us, maybe without even being aware, because we haven't shaken out that military mindset. So it's up to us to really sort of initiate ourselves back into the club, back into the group of the provider for our household, the caretaker for our household, whatever role that is for you. What I want to propose is this. Just like we as a veteran community sort of address those individuals who are cheating the system, who are lying, who are making us all look bad, we should have the same passion, level of passion, but compassion, right? For those of us who are lying to ourselves, hurting our own loved ones, because fundamentally, what is it? Yeah, it's still lying, being dishonest to have an inaccurate VA rating, just like this one was. And I can tell you that right now is the absolute best time to do that. You may have seen a couple of videos ago, or as well in the news, the VA is in a big overhaul right now with leveraging technology, sort of automation, artificial intelligence, to go ahead and approve and deny these claims. There are a lot of claims that have been stagnant for decades that we're finally seeing go through and get approved. So if this sounds like it could be you, or we even kind of bully each other about this, sort of downplaying, oh, your symptoms aren't that bad, my back is worse. If that sounds like you, and there are a load of veterans in that boat, now is the time. Now is the perfect time to wake up, go and get what you deserve, because the military is not there anymore. They have already replaced us. It's up to us to try to put those pieces together, help each other transition into a life for ourselves, into a life for our loved ones and our families. So let me tell you the real effects that this could have, because I know this seems like an abstract, sort of far out issue. This could have real effects on your VA disability claim. I talk to clients on the phone, for example, where we can go through maybe multiple back and forths, and it's not till the third time I'm contacting someone where finally I get something pried out where it's like, oh yeah, actually, I do have Meniere's disease and I stumble, multiple times per week. And I'm saying, what do you mean you stumble multiple times per week? I thought you didn't stumble. They're like, no, if I feel like I'm going to stumble, I just don't stand up. So thinking of these things like, hey, you know what? I have dealt and coped with this for so long. I don't technically stagger when I'm walking 3 times a week because I'm what, bedridden when I have these attacks? It seems like it could be a common sense thing, but when you're in it and when you have that conditioning, it's just natural. And again, it's not undone. You can go decades down the line. You've been out the military, and that is still with us. And that right there costed that gentleman a 100% VA disability rating. I'm talking about around $4,000 per month tax free for multiple years. So you do the math. There are people that I talk with on a regular basis that have issues that are absolutely relevant to their VA disability claim. And sometimes it almost feels like they're embarrassed, not because they had something embarrassing happening to them necessarily, but they almost feel like they're taking from something or they're embarrassed they have to ask for help. And this is kind of the mindset that I want us to grow out of, because there are some great things about the mindset of adapt and overcome, right? That can make you very resilient, sort of stoic even in everyday life. However, could we add something to that, right? Could we add acknowledge, adapt, then overcome to that? That way we're not on autopilot hurting the people around us and having no idea. Be honest with yourself. That is not the truth. And there's nothing honorable about sitting there being self-destructive and destructive to your loved ones. And I feel like some of those people in that become trapped in that miserable state, where truly inside they're hurting and they're suffering and they know it. So the only way to release that is to sort of attack other veterans and say, oh, you don't deserve this, you don't deserve that. I'm not going to take handouts. And it's almost like this mechanism. And there's nothing cool about that. I want to. You ever see those people? You meet them, and it's like, wow, you never grew up after high school. That's kind of how it feels like when decades down the road we're still in that military mindset, and the military moved on from us, right? And now it's our loved ones that care about us, and we're kind of treating them like, crap because we're diminished and we have this illness that we're not addressing. We don't really want to go after that. It needs to be addressed. It needs to be tackled head on. So now I want to get into some actionable things, because this is where veterans are impacted the most, not just physically. Of course, we know sleep apnea, right? Something happened in the military. Now maybe you gain weight because of it. Maybe either it's a mental issue or a physical issue, and that is led to you working out less. Now you have sleep apnea. Okay, people know that one. But primarily, mental is exactly what happens. We have a bad transition from military to civilian world, right? It's difficult to mentally adjust. You could feel like an outsider. You could feel like a recluse, like an outcast. Perhaps you don't play nice with others in the workplace, in your social circle. Well, that's exactly how mental conditions are rated on social and occupational impairment, right? As of right now. And what are the odds that mental ratings as of right now are rated at a 70% disability rating on average? We're talking about maybe $1,500 per month tax free for the rest of your life just by addressing something that's been there this whole time. Really, you've been giving that cash away every month this entire time. But now it's finally, okay, you know what? I'll accept this. I had a real productive training call. It was intermittently with my discovery experts. We're basically expert interviewers. And The entire goal of this call with clients is to try to uncover those things that we know you're trying to hide from yourself, right? So, for instance, we'll ask you, hey, do you have any disorientation of time or space? And 9 times out of 10, a veteran, even that does, will say, no, I don't have that, not much. And then on the phone call, we'll ask you, hey, have you ever been driving on the highway or driving home and you don't remember the last 5 miles you drove? You just kind of think, oh, how did I get here? Like, oh, yeah, it happens all the time. There you go. Disorientation of time and space. It could be really helpful. It doesn't have to be us. It could be a friend, someone close to you, maybe your spouse, to speak with them about how your condition impacts you. They can have a different perspective than you are, because again, you're kind of in the adapt and overcome mode. They can tell you things even more honestly than yourself at times. So having that kind of accountability partner, could be a fellow veteran, to where you can ask and say, hey, have you noticed me being cranky or have you noticed any of this? That could be huge and be the difference between a 30% mental rating and a 70% or even 100% disability rating. You see, there's multiple steps to which this could seep in without you even knowing. Heck, on some of our CNP exam preparation calls that we do for clients, we'll run you through a couple of questions. Let's say, hey, how many migraines do you have? I'm like, well, oh, I got at least 2 cycle. I do say the words at least. Stuff like this is that, oh, I don't know. I did say the words at least. Okay, and while replace that with what's still your true story, well, I say up to. It's okay, yeah, I've had a month. I've had up to 8 migraines in a month. These little things nickel and dime your way multiple steps throughout the multi-month process of VA claims. I mean, by the time that you're at the end of it, that's what can make a huge chop. So I really hope this video helped you out and it wasn't too abstract because it truly does have a huge difference to you and your household. If you really pay attention, you gain that awareness. If this helps you, please hit that like button for me and more importantly, share it with someone who needs it. Cheers.